Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the 79th episode of the Retrotopia podcast. My name's Alan, and today we are delving back into the 3DS library to talk to you about The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. We are back up to full strength this week and looking forward to having a good old conversation about everyone's beloved green-clad elfin hero. I assume we haven't actually recorded the episode yet. That will be happening in approximately half an hour, but I can't wait. If you can't wait to get to the episode, well, I suggest that perhaps you skip, 15 or 20 minutes ahead to get into the actual game chat itself. But before we get there, stick around, because I'm going to do some plugs. We're going to talk to some Patreons, comments, questions, all of that good stuff. It's a good time. We have fun. Why don't you have fun with us? Oh, ran out of breath there. Sorry. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done this. So, Linktree. We have socials. We have Patreon. We have a brand spanking new TeePublic site thing with some lovely merch designed by Brian, our man in the chair, of course. Go check it out. It's awesome. We've got a Retrotopia logo we can slap on a shirt for you. We've got our Show Us Your RPG-ness design. I think the X-Gon Give It To You is up there as well. So why don't you have a little peek and see if there's anything you fancy. And big shout out for Sam for coming up with some of those slogans, and for Brian for coming up with some awesome designs. Well done, guys. You can find all of that, as well as our Instagram and X and all of that stuff, over at linktree/retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/retrotopia. You can find our Patreon there as well, as I mentioned, which you can join for free. And that will allow you to comment on episodes, comment in the 9-bit banter box, vote in polls, which we've just had one recently close, and I am honored and fucking excited to announce that Castlevania Symphony of the Night has won our latest poll, and I am... Well, if you've been listening to the show for any amount of time, you know that I'm a bit of a Castlevania fan, so very much looking forward to that one. There are other stuff, there's the extra shows, the quick plays, our mini review shows, there's Retro Bites, which you can listen to 15 whole days early, which is just our gaming, I suppose, fuck it, gaming chat show, why not? Where we just look at some of the news in gaming and talk about it in our own inimicable styles. What else? That's pretty much... I've probably forgotten all sorts. Like I said, I'm a bit rusty at this. But one thing I haven't forgot about is what I like to think of as the charcuterie board of the Retrotopia podcast. Because, of course, like a charcuterie board, it is very, very culturally elegant. And it is, of course, the 9-bit banter box. Alrighty, let's get into this. So first up on the 9-bit banter box, we have Mr. Hyrule, who asks, "Hello, good Sir Alan. You have an adventure to go on. You are travelling in a 1970 Volkswagen bus from New York to San Francisco, stopping at many landmarks on your way. You get to bring with you one character from a video game, one person from a TV show or movie, and one celebrity. Who are you bringing with you, and what is one destination you will definitely venture to on your way across America?" Good question, Mr. Hooley. So 3 people in my Volkswagen bus. Now, I've had a little think about this, and we'll start with video game character. Who would I most like to go on a road trip with from video games? Now, my first and probably only thought would be my boy Garrus from the Mass Effect trilogy, because I've already been on a road trip across the galaxy with the guy, and he is a bro. He is honestly a ride or die. You know, he's got my back. Anything that goes down, and absolutely outstanding engineer as well. So that Volkswagen bus is never going to break down. So that's got to be used. I mean, 1970 Volkswagen. I'm not a car guy. I've got to imagine though that might take something to keep going. So We're going to need a guy who knows what he's doing. One person from a TV show or movie. Do you know what? When I saw this, one person instantly jumped to mind, and he has failed to jump out of my mind. And it's Ron Swanson. Because A, I fucking love Ron Swanson. B, would be able to sit outside the van and share a nice bottle of Lagavulin whiskey, which I absolutely adore as well. And I'm pretty much guaranteed to have the best burger of my entire life, just basically at a moment's notice at any time during the trip. So, meat and alcohol and moustaches, just a winning combination all round. And celebrity, that's a tricky one, because I don't really know many celebrities, at least not current ones. Can I cheat? I mean, it's my fucking show, so I'm gonna cheat. You know who I'd like? Christopher Lee. Can you imagine having Christopher Lee in that van with you? These stories that man could tell. I mean, I don't think there's any person, living or dead, who is quite as interesting as Christopher Lee. So I'm going to pick him. And if not him, if I can't have him, if I'm not allowed, I don't know. Probably someone like Harrison Ford. Because I think he's just genuinely, his deadpan like style of humour I find quite hilarious. And I think he'd have some good stories as well. And fuck, I really don't know America. I don't know what is between New York and San Francisco. I don't even know where San Francisco is. I don't know. I guess, is it cliche? Grand Canyon? That looks cool. Vegas, maybe? Just to see it, because the place doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, lame answers, but I don't really know too much about America, so yeah, that'll do. Next up, Randy Berridge has this to say. Hey Alan, hope you're doing well. I have a Zelda related question for you given the topic of this week's show and the similarities we share in our chronological completionist tendencies. That's very true, we do. I started my Zelda journey a year or two back with the goal of playing all mainline Zelda games in order. I have completed up through Ocarina of Time, which I greatly enjoyed, and I'm excited to continue on to Majora's Mask. My question for you, should I continue the journey which could take me a few years to get to Tears of the Kingdom? Or should I jump now to Breath of the Wild and return to the older ones after? I'm really feeling I am missing out on a key piece of my Nintendo Switch by not having played these two newer games yet. What would your recommendation be? It is feeling dangerous to go alone in this decision. Nice, Paul. I like that. The great thing about the Zelda games is that there's almost no... I mean, I know that there is an official timeline, but really, there's not that much continuity between the games, so you really can hop around as much as you'd like. That being said, you said Majora's Mask is your next game. And I like all the games, but I really like Majora's Mask. And if you've just played Ocarina of Time, that probably more than most of the others does kind of follow on in a way. So I would recommend playing Majora's Mask. If I may be able to cop out a little here, why not both? Now, maybe I'm assuming wrongly, but perhaps, you know, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild could be something that you play on the go, whereas Majora's Mask is something perhaps you could play at home. I don't know. Are you playing on an N64 for Majora's Mask? I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. I do prefer the older ones to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom though, so gun to my head, I'll say play Majora's Mask next because it's fantastic. Thank you very much. The Big Deal says, Dear Alan, with your complete adoration for the blue blur, have you ever played or heard of Sonic Pocket Adventure for the Neo Geo Pocket Color? It's this weird game that feels like a Master System Game Gear Sonic game that plays like a port of Sonic 2 with Sonic 3's soundtrack. It's available through Smemulation, or just watch a Let's Play on YouTube, but either way I think it's worth a gander. That's a phrase you Brits use, right? It is Big Deal. Yes, have a gander is a phrase that we use, which is why the word propaganda over here means to have a really good look at something. Have a proper gander at it. fucking awful joke. Yes, of course. Who are you talking to? Of course I've heard of Sonic Pocket Adventure. I've never played it though, but it is definitely on my radar. It's a game that I'm in an R-ing about whether or not it's worth buying a Neo Geo Pocket Color just to play that game, because I am that crazy. You know, I might be tempted to just have a look and watch a video of it, but yeah, does that sound like me? I think it's something I need for the collection. You know, assuming that there's plenty of other, and if you know the Neo Geo, let me know what other good games are on it, and maybe I'll consider picking one up. But yeah, great question. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. That's it for the 9-bit banter box. So, what have I been up to? What have I been playing? Plenty. I actually completed Sonic Spinball today, while we're talking about Sonic games. And listen, I know I'm a die-hard Sonic fan, but Sonic Spinball fucking sucks. I'm not shy about it. It's not a great game. I just don't like pinball games, but you know, it was the next one on my list, so what are you gonna do? I got in a good session of Silent Hill 2 remake last night, and really, really am digging that game, but Jesus Christ, does that shred the nerves, something fierce. Uh, the missus and I, we finished Split Fiction. I might consider doing a review of that. Um, what format that might take, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But you know, great game. I've made no secret of enjoying that game. And we're probably going to start a new co-op game this weekend. I picked up something called Champions of North. I think that's how you say it, and that's a co-op game. So we might pop that on and see what that's all about. What else? Oh, Professor Layton and the Curious Village I've been playing, which may or may not be an upcoming episode of the show. And of course, I don't need to play Castlevania Symphony of the Night to talk about it, but I fucking want to. It's our Patreon poll winning game, and any excuse to play that game, and I am all about it. So yes, I have popped that in my PlayStation and am loving it. I was gonna hold back my thoughts, but you already know how I feel about that game. So yeah, that's it. That's what I've been up to. So I guess it's time for that British idiot to do his gentleman's interlude bit. The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, is not just a game, it is a legendary Odyssey reborn. Developed by the master storytellers at Nintendo EAD Group Number 3 and published by Nintendo, this 2013 epic exploded onto the Nintendo 3DS, first captivating North America and Europe on November 22nd, then Australia on November 23rd, and finally shaking the land of its origin, Japan, on December 26th. It is a tale woven with destiny, danger, and a duel between light and shadow that transcends worlds. The land of Hyrule stands serene, its people unaware that darkness stirs beyond a veil of reality. Into this fragile peace steps Yuga, a vile sorcerer with the power to trap souls within cursed paintings. His ambition to resurrect the dread demon Ganon and plunge two worlds into chaos. When Princess Zelda herself falls victim to his curse, a new hero must rise. A simple boy, quiet and unassuming, must seize the blade of legends and become what fate demands. Link, the bearer of the Triforce of Courage. But this is not the Hyrule we once knew. Beneath its familiar surface lies Lowrule, a realm of ruin and despair, a shattered echo of Hyrule torn apart by its own hubris. Link's journey stretches across these twin worlds, bound together by magic, memory, and mystery. And in this new chapter, the rules have changed. The very fabric of reality bends with a stroke of innovation. Link can now become a painting, merging with walls and slipping through cracks in space. This mechanic doesn't just redefine puzzle solving and exploration, it shatters the linear chains of past adventures. Gone is the old path. Now the player chooses the order, the strategy, the destiny. With Ravio's item shop offering critical tools from the outset, every dungeon becomes a test of wit and courage rather than an arbitrary sequence. Graphically, it is a marvel. The world breathes in glorious top-down beauty with vivid colors and rich detail that sing in stereoscopic 3D. Each dungeon pulses with dread. Every forest whispers ancient secrets. And the music, oh, the music! Reimagined orchestral themes swell with heroic fervor, guiding the player like a siren's call through triumph and trial. A Link Between Worlds is not merely a sequel. It is a resurrection of legend, a rewriting of myth. It bridges past and future, light and dark, heart and blade. For those who dare step into its world, it offers more than a game. It offers an epic, a timeless journey, a call to heroism that echoes across dimensions. Okay, that was a bit dramatic there, mate. Just bring it down a notch. Anyway, so obviously, before we get into the game itself, we like to hear what you think about it. So, first up, we have Unbuckled Cape, who says, "This is one of the few Zeldas I have never played, which is unfortunate considering most rank it really high. Where does it rank among other Zelda games for you?" Highly. Very highly. Again, I'm not going to spoil too much before we get into it on the episode, but this is almost certainly just in the upper echelons of my favorite Zelda games, and I'll tell you why in just a bit. Don't rush things, Unbuckled. Jesus. Fallen Snow Kiku says, "I'm a relative Zelda novice. I've played 3 Zelda games to completion, A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, and the new one with Zelda herself in the lead, but this is one of the ones I've played but not finished. I never seem to see anyone talking about it, so it feels weird to call it that, but I think it's a hidden gem. The wall mechanic was fun and clever, and it felt like a true follow-up to Link to the Past, while also having enough of its own ideas to not feel like a rehash. I swiped the copy from my younger brother, as all good older sisters do, but I have it back. But I gave it back after a while without finishing it. Wonder if he'd let me have another crack at it. Well, Kiku, if he doesn't, I would never advocate for stealing, but maybe just steal it again. You've already done it once, you know. I don't think guilt is cumulative in that respect. So, and I genuinely think you need to play and finish this game. Um, that being said, the games that you have played, Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, and you're talking about Echoes of Wisdom, which I just played myself, and you know it was okay, it was good. But Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, you're talking about two of my favorites right there, especially Link's Awakening. My God, the hours I spent on that game. But yes, I think the lack of availability of this game forces it to be a bit of a hidden gem, which is really weird to say about a Zelda game, but there it is. Thanks, Kiku. The Big Deal says, "I don't have any experience with this game, but I wish DS games as a whole were more accessible." There you go. They're not even easy to shmemulate, his word, because of the dual screens and really only make sense in a game where one of the screens serves as a map or HUD to place them side by side. Hopefully, Nintendo focuses on bringing this library to the NSO next, in which case I would give this game a shot. I have to believe with the Switch 2 on the horizon. I mean, they've already announced the GameCube is coming to Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, where else do they go from there? It's got to be something like the 3DS, the DS. I mean, because what else is there? So I'm with you. I hope they start porting some of these games. I mean, I'm sure they could figure it out somehow. porting these games to the Nintendo Switch Online, because it is a shame that this one is pretty difficult to get hold of. Thanks, big deal. So, Super Dave says, I bought A Link Between Worlds back in college and fully in the grip of frustration with Nintendo's repeated delays of Breath of the Wild. I recall starting this game with an attitude of, show me why this is worth my time. I'm pleased to admit this game gave me one hell of an attitude adjustment. The art style is charming and the dungeon design and puzzles are a delight. Once I adjusted to the wall fusion mechanic, the game really opened up, and I even liked the 3D effects in a few times I turned up the slider. This is a true gem of the 3DS, and I wish I'd held on to my copy. It is, and I did play around with the 3D. I'm sure we'll get into it, but I just generally it was kind of a gimmick on the system. I never really used it. It just kind of fucked with my eyes, but yeah, I am glad. I am glad that, like John Cena, this game gave you an attitude adjustment, because it's wonderful. It's a wonderful game, and thank you to all of you who wrote in. Again, love it, love your questions, love your comments. But let's just get into it. Let's talk about why this game is so wonderful. So, sharpen your master swords, cram a fairy into a bottle, and prepare to slip through a crack with us as we talk about Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, released for the Nintendo 3DS on November 22nd, 2013 in Europe and North America, November 23rd, 2013 in Australia, and December 26th, 2013 in Japan. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the show. Alright, and we are back to talk a little bit of Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, released for the 3DS. And we're a three-piece today again. We are a complete Triforce. So with me, with the Triforce of Courage in hand, is Sam. With the Triforce of Wisdom, fuck yeah, with the Triforce of Wisdom in hand is Brian. And it's my fucking intro, so I've got the Triforce of Power because I hold all the power today. Guys, I've got a question for you, but first of all, how the fuck are you doing?
Pretty good.
Well, I'm not too bad. Yeah. No, I'm. It's finally sunny out here, so we were able to open up the windows. You can see the green cloud of stink fucking leave the house.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, it's been pretty nice. And if you're listening to this currently, we are recording on Wednesday, April 23rd, and tonight midnight go live for the Switch pre-order. So hopefully that goes well.
For 2/3 of us, yeah, one of us has been able to him and Han it for like a month.
Yeah, for us here in North America, where things are fucked, we can maybe pre-order a Switch today. So I might be trying that later.
I'm just going to pretend that I've not pre-ordered one just out of solidarity with you guys, when in fact I'm just poor and lazy. I stand with Sam and Brian.
Yay!
So the question I wanted to ask you guys is actually Zelda related. How about that?
Okay.
Getting on topic early. 3D or 2D Zelda?
2D. 10 out of 10 times I have had more enjoyment with the 2D Zelda dungeon format than I have with any 3D Zelda. Not saying 3D Zelda hasn't been good, just saying I would prefer 2D over 3D in this game.
And that's why you're holding the Triforce of Wisdom.
Ooh. I'm going to say something courageous then and say 3D.
This has just worked out fucking perfectly.
Well, and it's not because I dislike 2D Zeldas. It's just that when I was kind of coming into playing Zelda more, that I cut my teeth on the 3Ds more, and that's more of what I'm used to. But I've since gone back and really enjoyed the 2D ones too.
Yeah, that's fair. And
I don't think I prefer one over the other. I mean, I love the format. of the
Well,
the dungeon crawler.
I'm going to assert my power and break the tie and say that 2D Zeldas will always be my favorite. Again, same as you, Sam. I enjoy the 3D ones. You know, some of them are the greatest games of all time. But there's just something about that old school 2D Zelda that just
It's the top-down dungeon and the block room-by-room format
oh,
inside of those dungeons that's just so charming and enchanting that just makes you love the 2D
it
version.
just tickles my balls, and I love it. And this is one such example of that. So,
This is 2D, 3D.
Yeah, a really great example of that because it's on the 3DS and you get the 3D pop,
The depth.
all of it. Give it all. Yeah, this is kind of a 2.5D, I would almost say.
True. With some really interesting uses of a 3D space, which we'll get into. Do you guys like? I'm sure we've discussed this before, but do you guys use the 3D when you're playing 3DS?
Sometimes.
Occasionally, I do. I'll turn it on and off as I play.
Yeah, I mean sometimes I dabble with it, but by and large, it's just like I get bored of it quickly and just like, no, this is ruining my eyes, and I just want to play like an old man.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, what version of the 3DS do you have?
The new 3DS.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
like the big one,
not the XL,
the new 3DS with the big.
Not the XL, but the new. I'm sure it's a new 3DS, but not the XL one. If that makes sense.
I think mine's an XL.
Okay.
Yeah.
The XL for sure, because that's the one I have, and I'm not sure about the new 3DS, but they have eye tracking so that you can actually tilt the 3DS a bit, but the original ones didn't. So if you didn't hold it perfectly, like at the right angle, you would actually see the blurring.
I did not know. Yeah. And yes, that I have the original one then, because if I move that console even a little bit out of the way, it just spins me out.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so like. Yeah, I was just going to say with the new 3DS there, you can tilt it a little bit, and if it notices your eyes have shifted there, it'll automatically readjust the screen. You'll get a bit of a chunk, but it's fine.
That's
For
cool.
me, I don't know if
like
my
that.
eyes wander or what, but it just like sometimes the image will just kind of split and get blurry on me, and then I just turn it off. Because if you're in the middle of something like a fight or a boss battle or something, it's not great when the screen splits and you have no idea what's going on.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, a lot of the time in this game is just used to add depth to the level, so it's not any functionality in the game itself. It's just if you're on a platform and there's lava below you, you'll just see kind of depth between the lava and the platform. It's gimmicky at best.
I mean, it looks great.
I was going to say it looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like they and in this game when I did actually chuck it on, it does make it pop. It looks fantastic, but it's just
no, I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying it's not something you need to beat the game.
Exactly.
No, not at all.
100%. So
are there
Brian,
any games where you actually need to use the 3D function to like either see certain things or access certain things in a game? I don't know if there's. I've not seen
that I know of.
Yeah, I've not seen any examples of that. That'd be shitty.
Yeah, that would be definitely. So I was gonna ask. Let's start with you, Brian, because I think you've got a bit of a history with this game, haven't you?
Only that I bought it when it first came out and played it a few times, loved it.
Yeah, there you go. I think
That's about it. Like,
I don't think I got it right away, but I'm pretty sure I got the 3DS fairly soon after it released. So this would have been a game I picked up, I don't know, maybe a year or two after it came out, and played it. What about you, Sam?
I just played it recently. I got a 3DS from a retro shop last year, and then picked up a few of the later 3DS games were still kind of, I don't know if they are still, but available for approximately retail, brand new and package and everything. So this is one of the ones I picked up.
Nice.
I actually think also I might have two copies because I think member of the community, Jay Nasty, might have sent me one because he sent me. I had bought some games from him at one point, and then this showed up one day. I was like, "Whoa, dude!" So thanks
Awesome.
if you're listening still. Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, that was my first time playing it, and I was really excited to play it because I'd always heard great things. And it's pretty good.
It's a strange one, isn't it? As well, though. I mean, it was brought up in the comments for the episode. I think it was Fallen Snow Kiku who mentioned that it feels weird to call a Zelda game a hidden gem, but the lack of availability of this game, I think it really does have to fall into that category, right?
Yeah, it's only playable
you
on
never hear
the
anybody
3DS.
talking about this one.
Yeah. And all the DS, like the 3DS stuff, is just kind of, for now at least, unless something happens with the Switch 2, along with the Wii, I would say like a lot of that stuff is just kind of locked away because the mechanics are kind of gimmicky, or not even gimmicky, just unique. 2 screens. With the Wii, it's motion control like that. That's not really. It doesn't really carry forward unless you use that exact same format in your next console.
I have to think though. I mean, with the Switch, we got what? Fucking Game Boy Advance, Mega Drive, NES, Super Nintendo, all of that stuff. They've announced the GameCube stuff for the Switch too. I mean, this like DS, 3DS kind of has to be in the wings, doesn't it?
I would think so.
Yeah, but it comes down to the mechanics of how you're going to do it. Like either you blend the 2 screens together and have to remake every game, or you sell an adaptable screen, and maybe that's what that USB-C at the top is for.
That's what I was going to say.
I
that's what I think a secondary function of that top USB is going to be.
See, now,
and I really hope so, to be honest.
Now we're cooking. I hadn't even thought of that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so that'd be really awesome.
$129 adapter.
Yep. Well,
it requires its own power source.
It'd be really cool.
Yeah,
it'd be really cool to see some of this stuff get like either remastered or, a 3DS online or like a DS online. Could you imagine?
I can't believe that it's not going to happen. Like, I feel like it's inevitable. It just seems like too good an opportunity. And yeah, of course, there'll be some kinks to work out, but I mean, that is going to be that's a stacked library of games to bring to your online service, and this is one of them.
There are some sought after games on the 3DS and the DS as well that people just absolutely love to be able to play again without having to pay retro prices.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, Nintendo, if you're listening, don't
do it or else.
Don't sue me.
Of course they're listening. They always listen. They listen to all of us.
So
lawyers are taking notes as we speak.
Well, they listen to all of us so they can know when to sue us. Is probably
exactly. Well, let's soften that blow by blowing some smoke up this game's arse. Brian, why don't you tell us what this game is all about?
Well, you take on the role of a young protagonist named Link, or whatever you decide to name him. He can be Cocky Poo Poo if you really feel like it. I think he wakes up in a house. I can't remember exactly the beginning of this game, but yeah, he wakes up in the house, and then he goes to the castle. Shit happens, and then, of course, Zelda is captured by somebody who puts her in a painting. Other stuff happens, and then these cracks open up to what's called Low Rule, or the Dark World, and then you get the power to turn yourself into a painting on the wall, and it adds to the puzzle element. So you do the classic, find the Medallion of Courage, Wisdom, and Power in the Light World, and then you have to find the sages in the Dark World, because this is a direct sequel to the A Link to the Past. So it's it's what I can remember about it, because you kind of caught me off guard, and I didn't actually read up on the story again.
Dude, you did an amazing job.
Yeah, I think
Fantastic.
That tracks.
So you're chasing Yuga, who is the villain of this game, the one who captures, or whose goal is to reawaken Ganon and use his power for his nefarious means.
Yeah, and
basically,
one wrinkle to the story.
Zelda stuff.
Yeah. But one wrinkle to the story is that Link is like a blacksmith's apprentice, and so you have to go grab, like, basically he's like a lazy blacksmith's apprentice because they keep yelling at him for falling asleep, and you got to bring a sword to, I guess, like the Knight of the Realm or whatever for a tournament, and that sword ends up falling into Link's hands, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, it's still better than jumping into a dungeon and leaving your uncle's dead body to rot in there.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's
I
probably
never thought of
better.
it like that, but yeah. It's just I kind of love that. It's like almost every game is like Link has painted this like this lazy shit who's
Yeah.
always oversleeping, and it's just. I mean, if there's one thing that kind of, and I didn't want to bring up the animated series, but it's just like that kind of tracks. Just
Yeah.
make sure he never fucking talks again as long as I live, please.
And there's a live action Zelda coming out soon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Well, excuse me, princess.
that has to be in it. That has
Well,
to be in it at one
Yeah,
point.
at least once.
Oh, it will be.
Well, I kind of wonder if, like, they portray Link that way, just kind of to show that he's kind of an ordinary, kind of like teenage boy, I guess, and then, you know, he becomes the hero of time. But you got to show the progression. Where like, oh man, this is a kid that was sleeping in at the beginning of the game, and now he's, you know, got all kinds of weapons.
Outside of a couple of games, Link is always a non-hero thrust into action by the call of the adventure.
Yes.
So it's like Ocarina of Time. There, he's like what the nerd without a fairy. He's just his uncle's kid in a Link to the Past. This one, he's the blacksmith's apprentice. You know, he's always just what's the other one? Wind Waker. He's just a kid on the island, and he's thrust into adventure. So it's this overarching story where he is the actual hero, but he just never knows it through the different games, which have been connected loosely by Nintendo.
Yeah, well, it's because they're basically not doomed so much, but they're destined to be reincarnated every however many years or so. Because it was, and I know we're not talking about fucking Skyward Sword here, but that kind of set the stage. Now, hang on, no. Fucking love that game, but that kind of set the stage for like these characters being continuously like reborn to different ages to fulfill these roles, and it just tickles me that this hero of legend is constantly reborn as just a layabout. It's just like, yeah, I'm a layabout as well. You know, give me a fucking sword and let's see what happens.
Well, there it is. That allows you to kind of,
And that was the end of Alan.
right. That kind of inserts you into the role a little bit. Like you could take that role on because it's very relatable. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I sleep in. Cool.
Exactly. And again, you know,
So this,
go on.
so I just looked it up. This game takes place in the heroes defeated branch of the timeline.
Yep.
After the Oracle's game and after Link's Awakening. So Link to the Past, the Oracle's games, and then Link's Awakening, then this game. So
I think it is a different.
I don't know if that.
I think it is a different Link
Yeah.
from Link to the Past, but obviously very.
Oh, it
clearly,
is. It is. It's supposed to be in the future, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very clearly, the exact same Hyrule, because this map is very, very familiar.
Spot on. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only a couple of changes. Like you can't get to the desert directly from the light world. You have to kind of do a roundabout way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
The mountain's pretty much the same from what I can remember.
Yeah.
Few differences up there. Yeah.
Which is something I've always loved about
It's-
these games. Is just that continuity, especially with the 2D ones of that map. I mean, even if you look at the very, very first Legend of Zelda, I mean, it's pretty much the same map. It's just a lot more basic, which really does fit in with the Downfall timeline.
Yeah, I'm gonna admit my eyes glossed over when you started talking about different timelines. Like, ugh, man, I always kind of like I understand that there's a quote unquote canon or like a loose canon to Zelda games, but I always kind of figure that they're just kind of like alternate stories in the same kind of universe. They don't necessarily need to tie in for me. Like I'm kind of just there for the ride for that game.
They don't. I
mean, yeah.
You know,
there are some that
it's-
kind of link up a little bit, but pun intended.
Mhm.
But I don't really get too hung up on like, well, this is at this point in this timeline.
No, but it
yeah.
is. Yeah, it is a talking point. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to make you fall asleep. There.
No, I just like
I'll do better, audience.
no, to me, honestly, that stuff gets really hard to follow, and so that's why I'm just kind of like, well, yeah.
Well, that's why I had to look it up because I had absolutely no idea what the timeline looks like.
Oh.
I know that it branches off when Link, either he defeats Ganon in Ocarina of Time or he doesn't. That's where there's a branch to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. I didn't realize you didn't know all that off the top of your head. I figure you just, because you are the wise one.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. Unfortunately, I'm like split between two things. I'm getting a telemarketer call, and we're talking now, and I really want to see what the telemarketer wants to sell me.
Oh, put him on the mic.
Yeah, it's too late. If it's important, I'll leave a message.
One other thing I'll say in relation to the map. Like, I know that the map is very similar to Link to the Past, which is great. I mean, if it wasn't, and they claim that this game is kind of, either connected somehow to it, I think it would not be. I don't think it would be as good if it was so closely linked to Link to the Past and not have the same map, or at least very similar. But I always love when games do the, I mean, we just played Final Fantasy IV, and Final Fantasy IV does it too, where there's like a negative space version of the world, where you kind of go underneath, and it's basically the same map, but it's just kind of flipped. You know what I mean? Like, mountains are valleys and oceans are lava or whatever the hell. It's like all just kind of different, but it kind of follows the same format. So there's things that you can do on one side but not the other, and I always love that. I thought that was a really good addition to Tears of the Kingdom, actually, to have that underworld added in. I thought that added a lot of, instead of having the game go across horizontal space, you went vertical space with it, and it just kind of gave it more depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember once I figured out that those light sources in the underworld corresponded to shrines in the upper world. That was a fucking game changer for that game.
Oh god, yeah, I know. That game is awesome. I'm sorry. Like, I know a lot of people are like, it's just more of the same. No, it is truly a magnificent game.
But I mean, more of the same is kind of the Legend of Zelda's thing, isn't it?
A little bit.
I had this conversation with Brian. It's just like the recipe
Without
is
me?
more or less.
Oh.
Well, it happens.
Sorry. Go ahead.
It happens.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, pillow talk. But it's like it's the same basic recipe, but they just change one rather major ingredient to just bake up something completely different. And this game, you'd be forgiven for sort of looking at this game and thinking, well, that's just a remake of Link to the Past, surely, because it does just look like a graphical upgrade to that game, and that's kind of what I thought it was at first. I mean, even the name Link Between Worlds just kind of has that Link to the Past ring to it. And I mean, for the most part, I guess there's something to that, but I think this game does enough that is different just to really make it stand out.
Yeah, the dungeons are different is one of the key points. Like, not majorly different. When you go into that first dungeon over on the middle right, it has that same aesthetic as the Link to the Past there. Like, it has you walk in and then the big cannonballs are firing down that corridor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But then as you delve deeper into the dungeon, there's some slight differences to it, but it really picks up when you go to Lorule and all the dungeons are different, and then you have to go between worlds to solve the puzzles just to get to the dungeons.
Yeah. Which is again shades of Link to the Past with the light world and the dark world, but again, it's told differently, and it's enough. It's enough to just hold my interest.
Yeah, I'd say
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I would
no, you go
just
ahead. No, go.
The lead up,
just go, Sam.
The lead up to these dungeons is really fun because there's a lot of, just extra puzzles and stuff, even just to get in the door. And that's yeah.
I want to bring up something that, like, on that along the lines of what you said, Sam. The puzzles to get to the dungeons are good, but something we haven't mentioned yet is that in this game you can literally do whatever you want in whatever order you want.
Yes.
Because you can rent the items. And we were talking about that as we were playing, how the renting system was kind of dumb in a way, but at the same time it really opened up the game, that you could go around and you could basically, yeah, you could start with the third dungeon if you want. It didn't matter if you needed an item to get there. You go rent it, and I found that actually pretty nice of them. To be fair,
Yeah,
it's an
I'd say so.
interesting it's an interesting mechanic, and like I'm not sure where I land on it. Being a bit of a, I don't know, Zelda traditionalist, I like the go to a dungeon, find the item in the dungeon, use that item in the dungeon. But for those of you who haven't actually played the game, what Brian's talking about is that there is, at one point in the game, you find this merchant, Ravio, who basically just fucking sets up shop inside your house and boots you out. And he has for rent literally all of the items in the game that you might need. And you can rent literally all of them if you've got the money on the spot. The caveat there being is if you die, all of the items go back to Ravio. You have to rent them again unless you buy the items outright and then you can keep them for good. And yeah, it does mean that you can technically, well, not even technically, you can just attack these dungeons in any order. Now you will need the item that works in that dungeon, so you could get there hypothetically and not have, like, I don't know, the ice rod or the wind thing, and you
Yes,
have to
the
go
wind
back and
thing.
get it and go back.
No, I
the
know.
wind thing.
Sorry.
I can't.
Sorry.
I cannot.
The technical
Just, I had
term.
to-
called the tornado rod.
that's the one. Thank you very much. Just like-
Excuse me. Yeah.
well, actually,
Actually-
just me to pick one I didn't actually know the name for. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a nice little change. I appreciate that they did something a bit differently. I don't know how I feel about it, but
You know what? I have a couple of thoughts on this. I think it's good if you think about it from purely the perspective of they're allowing me to go wherever I want. And if you
Sure.
think about it that way, it's really cool. If you don't think about it that way, it's a pain in the ass. Because then let's say you end up dying or whatever, and I mean it'll happen. You lose all of it unless you pay a pretty steep price to keep the item permanently. And there's no lack of rupees in the game, so that's good at least.
yeah,
The enemies drop a lot of rupees and they drop a lot of the high value ones. Like it's not uncommon to see a 5 or a 10. But one thing I noticed looking at the wiki is that when you have the rented version of the item, it has Ravio's little bunny ears on it. And then when you get the purchased version, it doesn't. So that's kind of fun.
I noticed that.
Yeah, and then a lot of them have
Yeah.
an even more upgraded version. So there's like, for example, you've got the
Well,
boomerang and then
yeah,
the nice boomerang.
Yeah,
Everything's called the nice something,
Yeah.
but they upgraded versions. Like after you buy everything, you can go find those little squid things that are all over the place that squeak as you get close to
Yes,
them.
that's how you did it.
And then you go find, you find the mother squid there, and if you get all 100 of them, you actually get like everything upgraded, and then you get an extra attack, like an extra wide spin sword attack as well.
that's right.
Did,
yeah.
did
it's,
either of you guys do that?
Definitely, I did that. Yeah,
I-
I had to look up the last two,
Mm-hmm.
but I got them all.
Nice.
So I went looking for the Maya Mai. See,
Oh,
I fucking
very
knew
nice.
that
There
one.
we go.
I
Look at fucking Mr. Name Dropper.
Couldn't,
over
couldn't
there.
think
I
of
had tornado
whatever the
rod.
fucking tornado rod, but you got the squid like species.
I had to redeem myself. But yeah, I fucking loved that little. I guess it's kind of a fetch quest, but whatever. It just had shades of the shells that you have to find in Link's Awakening, which I also enjoyed.
Or like the Koroks, like it's just kind of fun to
Yeah.
find those around as you like. You're not necessarily seeking them out, but as you're exploring, it's like, oh, it's making this little sound. I bet there's one around here somewhere.
That's right. And if you're paying attention, it's just like, oh, right, okay, well, the game is telling me there's one of these fucking things to find around here, so I'm going to take a little bit of time to look for it. And they're usually like under a rock or under the water or just in a tree or some shit like that. And I managed to get, because I thought we were going to record this episode a lot sooner than we did. But I got about 90 something odd of them. I was just like, that's enough to upgrade all the items. I don't really need the extra attack. But
It was very useless.
Was it?
well, there you go.
I hate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I never used a spin attack in this game to begin with.
I would say I really hate when there's collectibles like this where you can get up to like, I don't know, say like 100 or 200 or whatever, and then there's like a big gap between whatever the let's say let's use Ocarina of Time for an example. Like you get the 50th gold Skulltula, and you get, I think it's a heart piece or something, and then there's nothing until 100, and then all you get for 100 is a gold rupee, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
and I don't know if it's an infinite rupee or if it's just one rupee that's worth 500 rupees, but it's just like, this is completely useless. Like money in itself is pretty useless in that game. Like why do I need a gold rupee for something that took me longer than anything else in this game? So I say, Zelda, shame on you for having rewards for things that are useless.
It's literally the Mario 64 thing, isn't it? It's just like,
Yes.
we genuinely didn't think anyone was going to go this far, so I guess here's Yoshi and some lives you don't need.
Guess what, Nintendo? By now you should know every single one of us is going to go this far. I 100% almost all the Mario games that I play, and most of the Zeldas that I play, like, like not Breath of the Wild or Tears. Those are crazy, but like, we like to thoroughly complete these games. So give us something cool at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of thoroughly completing the game, did you guys get the Master Ores to upgrade the sword to level 3?
I believe I did.
Yes.
Yeah, you got the yellow tip blade that you got in A Link to the Past.
Yep.
Then you found the Hylian shield there, which was not in A Link to the Past because you got the mirrored shield in A Link to the Past.
That's
I
true.
like the mirrored shield, though.
I definitely got the Hylian shield. And yeah, that's another thing that I really enjoyed. It's just like, because that every time you upgrade that Master Sword, like, it really makes a difference, especially like for some of those, like the fucking statues that move around and shit like that. Some of those enemies.
Oh, the Leonels in the game. Once you get the
yeah.
upgraded Master Sword there, they become fucking jokes.
Oh. Yeah.
Unlike fucking Breath of the Wild.
Oh god, yeah, those are nuts. But the nice thing about the upgraded sword is that it helps you kind of clean up if there's any lingering items that you haven't purchased outright from the vendor. Grinding for rupees becomes so much faster because you can just wander around the map and kill things that much faster.
True.
Yeah, I don't know.
And speaking of rupees as well, I mean, one other thing that this game does is it does not fuck around with wallets like some of the others do. Like, you can.
Oh, that was the nicest.
Yeah.
Well,
You can
could
collect
you imagine
as many as you like.
I wonder if there were wallets or something to begin with, and they're like, no, if we have this rental system where you need to have a lot of cash on hand, like a wallet system would have been it would have made this game absolutely shit. Like we would have hated this game with a wallet system.
100%.
I mean, collectively as gamers, we would have hated this game.
Yeah. And they know how to make a good Legend of Zelda game at this point, so.
Yeah, so with everything that we've talked about, actually, one of the nicest things is it is a really well-balanced version of this game. Like, just because you are able to get all these items right off the bat doesn't mean it's going to help you at all to progress through the game. But it's balanced enough that, yeah, okay, I've rented everything that's on the table, but I don't need it for this dungeon, so half the stuff I have is useless, and it's just... if I die, it's money out of my pocket. So it makes you think a little bit more about what you're actually going to rent. I rented everything, and then when I died, I just restarted from my save point because I was like, screw that.
Yeah, I'll
do the hour worth of work again rather than pay those prices.
I would basically die and really think about, if I was in a dungeon where I wasn't using certain items, I wouldn't rebuy them to go back into that dungeon. I would just buy the ones that I needed, and if I had enough rupees when I died, I would consider buying those outright for the purchase price rather than the rental price. And that's kind of how I, knocked out some of those as the game progressed, so that I didn't have to keep losing those things that were especially useful, like the hook shot, for example, or the hammer, because you need the hammer to mallet down, those posts and stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing that was cool about the dungeons is some of them would have like a little sign with a picture of the item that would be particularly useful from that point on. So they kind of give you a little bit of a hint, like, hey, if you don't have this thing, you're not going to be able to get very far here. You might want to go grab that if you don't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some dungeons required you to have the item just to get into. Like the Turtle Rock required you to have the ice rod, I think, to make the pillar that you could phase into, then walk around to get into the actual dungeon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That took me a while to figure out, by the way.
Yeah, I remember from my last playthrough, but the one that always catches me is the getting into the desert or the swamp level.
Yeah.
That's the one I always have problems remembering.
Down in the lower left corner of the map. Yeah, that's both in Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds. I've had troubles in that area.
Yeah, there's a lot of like ins and outs of that part, and a lot of transferring between the different dimensions to sort of get that little bit further before you come back. And I suppose that's like a good a time as any to like talk about this mechanic, because we've not
we haven't talked about it really.
Yeah,
no, we haven't.
Which is basically
the main mechanic of the game. We're what 45 some odd minutes into this.
Yeah, you can turn yourself into a little painting man and walk on the wall.
I think is one of the. I mean, I think it's one of the best mechanics in a Zelda game, and maybe hyperbole, but I just think it's genius. The ability to just sort of go into the wall, you turn into this funky little painting of Link, and then you can walk across the wall through cracks, round pillars and stuff like that, and it's just so well implemented.
Yeah. And it's on a timer, so like you don't have infinite time to be in the wall, so you have to kind of plan out where you want to go and book it to get there. And then also there's certain areas where they were really good about, if there's, you can't basically, walk into the wall and break the game by, just walking around the wall. There were ways that, they'll put a post in front of something so you can't come back out or something like that. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really cool. And there were, lots of hidden chests, like treasure chests and stuff with, extra rupees and stuff. And you could kind of do a little bit of extra puzzle solving in the dungeons and get more rupees out of it. And a lot of that relied on the wall walking.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the implementation in boss fights.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was done so well. Like, obviously, this is going to be a mechanic where you have to use to kind of get away from stuff. And there's two locations. There was the forest maze where you had to sneak, which I didn't like, but using the wall thing actually was kind of neat, like well implemented in it.
Yeah.
Then there's I can't remember which boss it is, but you have to go in the wall and he runs into it and knocks himself out.
Yeah.
And that gives you a chance to hit him. But it was also useful on bosses where you didn't have to use the wall to kill the boss, but if he's rushing you and you're kind of screwed, phase into the wall, get yourself out of trouble, and then friggin' come back out and lay the beating down.
Yeah, there was that.
Go ahead. I think I know where you're going.
There was that one boss, and I can't think of what it was called, but he had the giant sword and the shield.
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah. I've got it pulled up. It's called the Stalblind.
There you go. And I thought that was so, because it does feel genuinely rewarding when you figure this out, because this guy is just basically tanking you, and he's coming towards you with the shield in front of him, and obviously he'll take a swing if he gets close enough. And what you have to do is basically go into the shield, and then he loses you, and he's just like, he has no fucking idea where you are. He brings his shield out. You can then come out the shield, sneak up behind him, and just let him have it. And I just thought that was such a clever use of this mechanic.
That. Yeah.
Right?
There were so many times in this game when I'm fighting a boss or something and just like would be sitting there playing my DS and be like, oh, cool.
Right. See, what I love most about this mechanic is not just how cool it looks, but the game never lets you forget that that's what you're supposed to do. Like a lot of times in games, like you'll have a clever mechanic and you just like, you don't think to use it. But this game always just gives you enough of like a hint that, okay, this mechanic you've been using the whole game, maybe try doing this with it. And, it does lend itself to a certain amount of experimentation. And like you said, Sam, when you figure that shit out, it's just like, that's awesome.
A good example of that not being used well, unfortunately, Alan, is your beloved Soul Reaver. There's a couple of mechanics that like you use once and then you never use it again, or you use it only at the end of the game or something like that. I just remember that being a thing. Like, oh, I forgot I could even do that. What the hell? Oh, silence. He's gonna kill me.
and
Oh, you're dead,
and
man.
we were such good
Nope.
friends.
I still
All
like
right,
that game.
how about this one for you guys? What was your favorite dungeon?
Oh yeah.
And what was your least favorite dungeon?
You know what my least favorite one is?
Well, go on. If you've got an answer, let's hear it.
Oh, least favorite is the freaking the ice dungeon. Always fucking sucks. It took me a really long time to figure that out because it wasn't quite apparent to me where I could actually go. And that's maybe my fault and not the game's fault, but it also adds to your level of frustration when you don't know where to go and you're also sliding all over the place.
Yeah, that's never that much fun.
Yeah, ice levels always suck.
Yeah. Favorite for me is Thieves Hideout. I thought that was a lot of fun, and I thought that
It's always a thieves' hideout.
yeah, that escort mission was super fun. I guess you could call it an escort mission, but the dude helps you out.
It's always a rare thing to have an escort mission that's fun to do, but I love any type of puzzle like that where I've got somebody tailing me and I have to use both of us to trigger switches and things like that. I don't know what it is. It just does it for me. Thieves Hideout is definitely up there. I really like the desert one as well because I liked the sand rod mechanic and using that to just create my own paths around the level. And
that was nice.
I enjoyed that quite a lot.
I'm gonna go with Thieves Hideout was probably my favorite, but I'm gonna go with Eastern Palace, the the first dungeon replicant. Just because of the nostalgic feeling when you walk in there, just like, oh yeah, I'm back in friggin' Hyrule.
That's fair.
Yeah, for sure.
Least favorite, I'm gonna go Ice Ruins because let's be honest, Sam nailed it. Everything about the Ice Ruins, sliding around and shit like that is annoying.
Yeah, the ice mechanic in any game is just like, this wonderfully crafted and delicate movement mechanic that we've got going on. Let's just fuck it all up for you. It's just like, great, thanks. Do you know what I really thought didn't suck in this game is it's basically a fucking water temple. I can't think what it's called now, but it was
Is it the
a level.
swamp one?
Might have been. It's a dungeon in this game where you have to raise and lower the level of the water in order to succeed. And I know what you're thinking. Don't think that, because this was infinitely more enjoyable than Ocarina of Time. It's basically the water temple done right. Not my favorite dungeon, but I enjoyed it.
I would say that's Water Temple done right, and I think the Thieves Hideout is the Jabu's Belly done right, where you have Princess Ruto and you have to keep putting her on switches and stuff, and she's yelling at you the whole time. That sucks. This Thieves Hideout is way better. They took the formula and if there was something that we would normally be irritated by, I think they did it much better. And one thing with the Ice Ruins, if you haven't played this game and you're listening to this and you're like, you know what, I want to find a copy of that game, or I want to dig my copy out, and you get to the Ice Ruins, this is where the 3D mechanic, or the 3D toggle on the 3DS was really useful, because I think that's where I turned it on at one point and I was like, oh, it's got so much depth that that 3D portion of the 3DS really does kind of help you. It makes it pop, so you can tell oh, I have to jump down there, or these are really 2 or 3 separate levels, where when you're really playing a true 2D Zelda, everything's kind of compressed in a way that this game is not, and you really have to use your depth perception to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm just going to say one thing about that. Getting to the Ice Temple area was a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, God. The only reason I did the Ice Temple last is because I wanted no part of that friggin' climb up Death Mountain or whatever. I guess it's Snow Mountain or something in the low roll. Then you have to go down all the jumping and, platforms and the slippery ice and everything that wants to kill you, those statues and all that, and if you fall off, you have to start again. It was just fuck, it took me so long to get down.
That whole section on Death Mountain with all of the moving platforms and what have you, and little tiny platforms covered in ice and all the rest of it just can eat every square inch of my ass, because I just could not stick any kind of landing.
Yeah, that was tough.
and it took me so long to do it. Like, I found everything in this game before I went to tackle that. Even Low Rule Castle was not as annoying as that, and I'm not a big fan of Low Rule Castle because it went on forever.
Yeah, that's
but
a big...
God damn, that one fucking section of this game. It wasn't game breaking because it was frustrating. It wasn't unfun.
Yeah.
So, but it just was something you don't want to tackle because you're enjoying the rest of the game so much more. Oh God.
Yeah.
Even the sneaking part, which I didn't like that much, was better than that stupid friggin' dungeon to get to the dungeon.
I think the reason I'm so pissed about it is that it's technically my fault. Just like, yeah, it's a tough area of the game, but I should be better at this than I am. I'm just old, I think. So I'm gonna take a point off of myself for that one.
Not the game. It's a you problem, huh?
It's a me problem for sure.
And that definitely leaves Alan now sitting at a 25 in the hotness scale.
Oh, okay. Hang on, what's the scale out of?
24.
Oh, nice. Such a sweetie.
Oh, Jesus, a little bit of pride there. That's a sin. You're now at 23.
Oh, I'm gonna lose it all by the end of the episode. Well, since we're talking about dungeons, what do we think of the bosses? I know we've touched on it already a bit, but any sort of favorites, least favorites? I mean,
Moldrum, that worm that you have to hit the tail of that fucking thing and it bounces you. Don't know why. Maybe I'm a sadist, but I love that boss. I love it because,
really,
you don't die when you fall off the platform.
I don't like that one.
That's why I love it. It's annoying, but it's fun because it's like a challenge, and you just got to get in there.
Oh, but it's not as
it's
not as bad as the Link to the Past version of the same boss, where it knocks you. Then you have to start it over again.
The problem is,
yeah. Did you notice the first three bosses were the same though?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Maybe better versions, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, well, that really lends to the this is truly a sequel, and you are truly back in that same Hyrule.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because the second I saw that fucking Moldor, I had PTSD all over again. And you're right, he is technically easier than Link to the Past, but I still like, I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach when I saw that fucking snake again. Easily my least favorite, but that's, again, just because of the scars.
Poor Alan.
I really liked that. Was it Margamil? The basically that pillar with the eye on top.
Oh yeah,
that was a clever little boss fight as well, because
that was an enjoyable fight. Yeah,
just using that tornado rod, which I remember now, to get up on top and just wailing on the eye while dodging and bouncing around the room. It's very obvious what you need to do from the get-go. Tricky, but satisfying.
I just want to say one last point is the boss I most identify with is called Knuckle Master.
I saw that too.
Say no more. I don't want to know why.
About a 3-knuckler. What? Just going back to the items quick. I mean, the sand rod and I think maybe even the tornado rod are pretty unique to this game, aren't they? Or do they show up elsewhere? There's always like, your kind of usual suspects in a Zelda game: your bomb, your boomerang, your bow and arrow, your hook shot, and then there's always like those are like your standard, your base, and then usually like the rest of the items are variable, but they do show up from game to game.
Every game has their unique items. Like like you said, there's the standard items. Like the bow of light always shows up at some point in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think these are the unique items for this game. Same with the hint glasses and the stamina scroll, I believe, is another one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a couple of things that set this game apart from other games. Or the other Zelda games, sorry.
And you know what I think that is? Because obviously you've got your ice rod, you've got your flame rod, and those are staples as well. But I think if you look at the two new ones, they're very much geared towards the 3D aspect, the verticality of the game. It's just like, sand pillars come up, The tornado
Yep.
rod brings you up to the screen. It's all designed to play with that 3D if you have it on, and just really like give you that sense of depth, I think.
They're really good at coming up with, those kind of wild card items that fit the game style, like you said. Like I thought of, I was thinking about Minish Cap earlier today and how they've got that one rod that just like all it does is flip shit over, but it just kind of fits the, it ties into that shrinking mechanic because you got to flip shit over to turn it into something you can use to shrink down and that sort of thing. So they're always like coming up with something a little different that even if it's like kind of a boring concept, it always works within the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, because the tornado rod, the sand rod, they're not going to be anyone's favorite item in the game.
Right.
But I just think they are, I guess, maybe fairly underwhelming because they work so well. As you just don't think about it. It's just like you get used to it so quickly that it just
Right.
becomes another part of your arsenal.
Right. Like figuring out the desert was so satisfying when finally I was like, oh, this is what I have to do. And, obviously you're using the sand rod to do it, but figuring that out was really rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why I like that level with that dungeon so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's if you go through the game, there's a couple of puzzle levels you can do. Like you blow a rock out of a wall and you go inside and there's some like dude standing in there. And the whole thing is just a puzzle to get like a $300 rupee that's in the middle. And there's one that involved the sand rod, and it was a blast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but
those little puzzle rooms are fantastic.
I liked
there's
finding
one that
those.
involved the Pegasus boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though
one involved the Pegasus boots can go eat its ass.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The Pegasus boots aren't a mandatory thing you find in this. That's something optional that you have to go hunt down.
Yeah, true.
Like, you can finish this game without the Pegasus boots, and that was something else that kind of caught me. Like, you need the Pegasus boots in A Link to the Past, but in this game, it's just, go hunting for them somewhere.
Well, yeah, and that kind of ties into everything else that's happened so far, because you don't really need to complete this game with many of the items. I mean, they'll have their use throughout the game, but you could just technically get rid of what you don't need and keep what you like, as long as you've done all the dungeons. There's a lot of scope for just playing it your own way, which I think is to the game's credit.
Yeah, you could increase, like there's a way to like not falsely, but like elevate the difficulty in your own way. Like you could say, like set rules for yourself, almost like a Nuzlocke in Pokemon, where it's like, I'm going to play this game, but I'm only going to rent the items and use like the base version of it and not upgrade anything and see it, that would be a challenge in itself. Yeah. So I don't know that there's lots of different ways to play. And I think that's kind of cool. This game is really versatile.
Definitely.
The speedrunning record in this game at any percent is 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 25 seconds, set on May 4th, 2023 by Skitten.
Damn.
People are still playing this in 2023. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, we
played it in 2025.
Yeah, but, we're special.
Well, that's the other thing is like a game like this where it's I'm sure there's ways to go at it where you would cut time the best or the most efficiently or whatever, but figuring out that formula in a game that's completely open, you can kind of do as you please, is really kind of interesting. That's I'm not surprised that there is a speedrunning community around this game, because it's so they're so varied in the approaches you can take.
Yeah,
there's a speedrunning community around every.
Well, yeah,
game
pretty
nowadays.
much. But I mean, like it comes as no surprise.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah, there's some games where it's like, oh wow, really? I mean, I guess so, but this would be a fun one if you were a speedrunner, I would think.
So it's kind of funny. I just saw a picture of this game where the view is tilted a little bit, like somebody actually hacked the game and then adjusted the camera. From the way you look at everything, everybody looks like they're standing properly, but if you actually turn the camera and leveled it with everybody, they would be leaning backwards towards the top of the screen. Like everything is the rupees, the statues, the characters, they all lean upwards. It's kind of, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's top-down 3D, so like things have to kind of face the player, but you're looking at it from top down.
I get why, but yeah, it just doesn't sit right. It doesn't make me happy.
It's funny that it works, but if you look at it in literally any other way, it's just a fucking nightmare scape.
Yeah. I can't unsee it.
But speaking about the graphics of this game, I mean, let's do that because
beautiful.
This looks stupid. Sorry, I just googled it looks so dumb. It looks like everyone's doing like a Michael Jackson lean, but like all in the same direction. Everything in the world.
And that is not a world I would like to live in.
No.
But talking about the graphics there, I mean, this game is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Very lush greens, like they just kind of pop out. Hyrule is very, it's like purples and stuff like that. It just looks kind of gross, and it gives you that sense of depravity and all that. Like it just looks like a world that's falling apart. It's I'm just honestly, it's just such a good, well-looking game. It's just especially on the 3DS, that screen really makes things pop even without the 3D. It's just wow.
It's like when you want something to look evil or sickly or dark or whatever, but you want to keep it cartoony. That's where you start throwing in the purples, and that really works for me. I liked that. I liked the dark world looked really cool.
Yeah, it's very distinct.
Like the plants. Yeah, and like plants and trees look a little different, like goofy looking, like I said, like kind of sickly or whatever.
Well, that's that's kind of what I love so much about this game is that they did keep it so close to A Link to the Past, because it really just shows they've basically taken the world that we're so familiar with in like 16-bit and just really spruced it up and just shown what they were capable of at the time. And it's just such a delight to see that world that we're so familiar with just look that polished. I mean, it's by no means as good as something like Link's Awakening, but it's still, to this day, it just pops. It's just gorgeous to look at.
Yeah. You mean Link's Awakening remake or the original Link's Awakening?
Remake. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that remake. Like I'm excited to get into. I know maybe it wasn't everyone's favorite game, but I'm excited to play the Zelda one.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hate that game. I just didn't like the mechanics. I got bored faster than I normally do. I'll take another crack at Echoes of Wisdom, but it wasn't my thing. I wasn't in the mood. That's probably like half of it.
The idea is sound. It's just the execution was just a little bit clunky, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I would get into it, but I just don't really feel like it.
Fair. Nothing,
because we're talking about a different game, aren't we?
Maybe a bonus episode on that one.
Maybe. And there's nothing clunky about this game because this is buttery smooth. Just a joy to play, a joy to listen to as well.
Oh yeah, music is great. I mean, just updated versions of the Link to the Past music for the most part. Were there any tracks that were just brand new to this game that were notable to you? I don't know. I didn't do any sort of comparison. I'm just kind of wondering.
Well, I'd have to listen to the soundtrack again, but there's no bad songs in this game.
No. And again, it's one of those games where like a lot of the work is already done, because as long as you nail like the main themes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like Hyrule had more or less the same music as the Dark World from Link to the Past, and it's just again, it's just taking that nostalgia and just updating it so you kind of feel all at the same time at home, but somewhere completely new. And very, very well done.
Do you want some Retrotopia trivia to go along with this episode?
Yep. Yeah,
I've already used the the Overworld song for this from this game for another podcast we did.
Oh yeah?
Oh yes, I have. It's your favorite version of Link.
For the animated series?
Yeah, because I couldn't find a clean version of that song, so I in the interlude I used this music from this game. Kind of what prompted me to want to play it again.
Yeah. That's kind of using the good Link to the Past music for that discussion of that show is kind of just an olive branch. Like, oh yeah, sorry, we're talking about this piece of shit, but here's this good music.
Yeah, just lulling you all into a full sense of security. And if you're still around, then God bless you. Oh.
Well, God knows Link didn't want to bang the princess in this one.
No.
Maybe that other one.
Ooh.
Maybe that other one.
I don't know about a hot take, but and this might we're getting into spoiler territory. But so if you don't want spoilers, just kind of skip ahead. But Princess Hilda is like a hot goth version of Zelda.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Sam has taken it too far again. And HR calling in 3, 2, 1.
Sam has already taken his
don't have
pants
HR.
off.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what. No, let's get into spoilers. Fuck it.
So if you
No, we've talked enough about non-spoiler stuff. You don't want spoilers. You know what? You can leave now. Please support us.
Yeah, I didn't have any spoilers, or if I did at some point by, I'm sure I've listened to podcasts or things about this game, in the past, and I frequently do. If I haven't played a game, I'll still listen to a podcast about it, because more likely than not, I'll forget what the spoiler was by the time I get around to playing it.
100% forget.
You know what? We could talk about 90% of this game and it wouldn't be a spoiler, because it's very formulaic. I mean, your Link, you get the 3 gemstones in the colored world, and you get the power to go into the low rule, and then from there you have to rescue the 7 princesses, or the 7 sages again, and it's the same plot as Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Just, it's not up until around the end when they start popping the reveals of the big twists and turns of what everybody and everything is,
which
that actually finishes off the story. So 90% of this game can be talked about without actually spoiling a thing.
Definitely. But that little twist of the story at the end, I am here for 100%, because I think it's pretty genius, actually.
Yeah, I loved it. It caught me off guard. Like, I didn't know it was coming, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they really hinted that Hilda was going to be kind of the bitch of the whole thing. She's like, "Welcome to Low Rule. We need your help." And then she's like, "You're not going to sneak up on me, you dirty man."
That's a good impression.
She's actually the Zelda from the 1989 cartoon.
Is that right?
Yeah, this is what happened after the Link from that world, because it's the Link is a cuck in this game too from that world.
Yep, that's
so
true.
It's so basically, Low Rule is a 1989 cartoon version of Hyrule, and things have gone to shit because they couldn't get the Triforce because Ganon got away with it, so they're just sitting there decaying.
Actually,
Zelda or Hilda changes her name to be Goth Mommy.
Oh, Goth Mommy.
No,
I just had to throw a Goth Mommy in there for Sam.
Yeah,
there it
thank
is.
you.
So, actually, what happened in Low Rule is that they were so there were so many wars and battles for the Triforce that were basically ripping the kingdom apart, that they actively decided to destroy their Triforce, which means that the world didn't have that one thing in it that was basically sustaining it. So it went into a slow and steady decline. And then they were just like, well, fuck, the world is ending because our Triforce doesn't exist anymore. What the hell are we going to do? Well, we're just going to look next door to Hyrule. Well, they've still got a Triforce. Let's cross over and fucking pinch it. Thus dooming Hyrule to the same fate. Which is an interesting take.
And it would have almost worked, and they would have got away with it too if it wasn't for that Link and his rented toys.
And his buddy Ravio, who is like the Low Rule version of Link.
I call him Cuck Link. Honestly, because he sat there and he's like, "Why aren't you the hero here, Link?" And he's like, "Because I like to watch Zelda have sex with other men while I sit in a chair in the corner."
Well, there's our soundbite.
Yeah.
My mangina hurts.
That is.
Well,
but I did like the reveal. Go on.
Yes. No, that's exactly where I was going. Go ahead.
Then you go right ahead, buddy.
Well,
I'll take this. I love the reveal.
Well, I mean, there was the Zelda Hilda thing, and then the game is like, hold on, you think that was cool? Just wait till you find out who Ravio is, and then he takes his hood off. It's like, yeah, I mean, the way that he's portrayed or animated or however rendered or however you want to say it, like, it's not necessarily like, because Zelda creatures and characters look kind of kooky anyway. So it's like, I mean, this could have been a rabbit. Who knows? It could be a guy in a hood. I don't know what it is. But it turns out it's kind of low rule Link under there. I thought that was like a second reveal that was like, just more on top that you weren't expecting, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And the idea that this low rule version of Link is he's not getting stuck in because he's actually at heart kind of a coward. I just liked that juxtaposition of their two like characters, and it's just like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense now, because you just think, well, you've got a Zelda over there. I'm not even thinking at this point, where's their Link? And it's right at the end where it's just like, oh shit, yeah, of course they'd have one as well, and he's a pussy. Love it.
Well, they're opposite in every way, like Zelda is light and kindness, and Hilda is, darkness and spite, and Link ends up being courageous and brave, and Ravio is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Plus he's a little bit greedy.
Would you call him kind of a pussy though? Because he did travel across a different multiverse, bringing a bunch of weapons to help Link actually, fulfill his plan. He's cunning.
Yeah, I guess he's cunning.
Link,
well, he's got a motive, doesn't he? Because he's doing that for a price.
Yeah,
of course.
He's not without his uses, but of course he's basically come across because he doesn't really want to get involved with Hilda and this Yuga, who's basically, I guess, her court wizard or what have you, who's found this ability to cross over dimension. He's just like, well, I want no part of that, but kind of don't want to see this happen. And I guess right at the end he does show a bit of spine when they realize, well, shit, and now we're in real spoiler territory, because you beat Yuga, you reclaim all of your pieces of Triforce, and Rufio, whatever.
Oh,
Ravio.
Ravio. I'm just like Rufio. I'm just like, fucking hell, I've gone
Rufio.
He's just like, you know what? I'm kind of cool with just letting this world die if it means we don't have to like go down that road. And it's just like, fuck. Okay.
Oh, he made his money. He doesn't care.
Well, can't spend it in a dead world.
How do you know? How do you know where they go after they die in low rule?
Right, doesn't Link...
I mean, they have actual goddess there by proof of having the Triforce.
Yeah, but they don't have the Triforce, Brian.
Doesn't
yeah,
Link
but
save
I'm just
both
saying
worlds?
there is actual evidence of gods.
Sorry, what's that, Sam?
Well, wouldn't Link have saved both worlds then by stopping Yuga?
Well, if you remember the ending, you remember what happens.
I don't.
But, I don't want to... fuck it, I'm going to spoil it. So anyways, after Zelda and Link go back to their world and they make peace with Hilda and Cuck Link, Zelda they get one wish when you assemble the Triforce, so they wish that Low Rule gets its Triforce back.
Yeah, which is
just an upside down version of, the original Triforce.
Which, to be fair, they could have tried in the first place. I mean, if Hilda and what have you had just come over and said, listen, can you use your Triforce to wish ours back? None of this would have happened, because Zelda would have said yes.
Then you would have spent $80 on a game where you did nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It would be like, it'd be like, oh, yes, okay. Well, then there's no adventure. Cool. That was the easiest game ever.
This is more like the afternoon tea of Link or of Zelda.
It's just one of those games. It's just like, you guys went all the way fucking dark when you could have, like, your opening gambit could have been a little bit less dickish.
Right.
Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, without a plot like this, I mean, there's no game. So
I know. I'm just sense. I'm just being a nerd.
I get it. I'm just saying that they actually handled the plot really well, and the fact that they left the reveals till the end of the game, just kind of giving you little drops here and there of story, just to make you come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, I loved it.
And that Cuck Link reveal at the end was actually a nice touch.
Yeah, great story. Really enjoyed it.
you know, 75 out of 2006. I don't know. That's my score.
That's a really weird score.
That is. Speaking of, are we there then?
I think so.
I don't really have much left to talk about this game. It's well, I guess I'm going to go on a rant here one way or another, so I guess I'll start this.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind, Alan.
Nope.
All right. Yeah, it's a great game. Like I said, I bought this when it first came out, and it hooked me right away. The concept of it being a direct sequel to A Link to the Past, I found to be actually very endearing to this game, because you're walking back into like a childhood video game for me. You walk back into the world of Hyrule as it was on the Super Nintendo, and you're seeing all this stuff that you haven't seen in a while. And the familiarity, the nostalgia, everything about that, the way Link handles, the way the game handles, Hyrule Castle, it's all there. It's all as it was. And then they add the new element by taking Lorule and adding that same familiar Dark World, but shaking it up a little to add the mechanics of, like you said, the 3D items and all that different stuff. The music in this game is great. The 3D was spectacular when you turned it on. Like, even though I didn't have it on all the time, I did play with it occasionally just for shits and giggles. The characters in this game are fun. The secrets in this game, you know exactly what you have to do. Find the heart pieces. Oh, if I want to swim, I got to find Zora's flippers. You know where to go in this game. That's what I really loved about it, because you've done it before. So once you got there, the game knew that you knew where to go, so it would put you, like, flip it around a little. Like, finding the Pegasus boots, it took me forever to find out where they were, and it all turned out that I was just skipping the one thing that I just didn't feel like doing because it was annoying, and that's where you got the Pegasus boots. And if you remember where that is, you'll understand, and if you don't, I'm going to ruin it for you. There's a thief in town that runs away whenever you get close, and what you have to do is phase into the wall and get behind him and scare him. Then he gives you the Pegasus boots, which he was using to run away from you.
Right.
I'm going to sum this up so you guys can go ahead. I'm going to give this game a solid 9 out of 10. This game is great. Is it my favorite Zelda game? Yes, with an asterisk. Definitely love it. Not one I go back to very often, but one that is a great time, but is not genre defining or series or franchise defining.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I'll get on board with that. Sam, you want to go?
Sure. We'll save the best for last then.
Oh, no, I won't have much more
to say. But I already
went. I would say yes. I like that they took this game, made it unique to the 3DS with the game mechanics, the using the 3D to great effect. Like I said, you know, there's certain points in the game where toggling the 3D on will kind of show you the depth that's there. So it's not like a true 2D Zelda. I think it's kind of somewhere in between. I liked the addition of the paintings and the wall mechanic. Flipping between worlds using those cracks was pretty cool, because also, something we didn't mention was that whenever you find one on the overworld, it marks it on the map for you. So there's a lot of just really good exploration. It's basically wide open when you start with, and it's not something that I liked at first, but once I kind of understood that what they were trying to do with allowing you to rent items and just have everything out there for you from the get-go, I really appreciated that. It hits you in the nostalgia boner, because it's basically, like Brian said, it's that continuation of Link to the Past, which I think is widely considered one of the best Zelda games, if not the best 2D Zelda game. This is a great game. I don't think I like it more than Minish Cap, which is I don't know if that's a hot take, but I enjoyed Minish Cap more, so I don't think I could in good conscience give this a higher score than Minish Cap. And since I don't remember what I gave Minish Cap, I will give it just a little bit less than what Brian gave it, so I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Nice. Still very respectable.
You gave Minish Cap a 7.
I didn't give Minish Cap a 7. I think I gave that like a 9. That's such a great game.
I have no idea. I can't remember.
I don't think that's a hot take. Like
that's like a top 3 for me.
It's an amazing game on an amazing console.
Minish Capcom. That's what we'll call
Minish
that one.
Capcom. Oh, nice. I mean, listen, I don't know that I'm going to be able to say much more than what you guys have already said. Like you've both nailed it. I mean, this game is a beautiful homage to the classic style of Zelda games. And just having a look, like this was, I guess, the last new Zelda game before Breath of the Wild came out. So it really
That's
is
crazy.
Yeah, I mean 2013. I mean there were a few that re-releases. I mean Triforce Heroes don't really count. But it just takes everything that I love about 2D Zelda and just polishes it up to just this impeccable shine. I mean, I like that they did enough different with it. I mean, it does, like Brian said, feel like coming home to a world that you already know and you already feel comfortable in, but with just enough of that difference just to keep you interested. You know, this is not the same game as Link to the Past, but it's definitely it's in the same neighborhood. And you know, the that mechanic of jumping into and out of walls as a painting is still to this day one of my favorite mechanics in a Zelda game. I just think it's so unique and so well implemented, and just you would think that that would be quite tricky to program. I mean, I don't know game programming, but it just seems like the ability to clip in and out of walls could break the game, but it's just seamless. It sounds amazing. It looks gorgeous. It's just an all round. I mean, I think this is quite possibly in my trifecta of Legend of Zelda games, up there with Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, and this. I think it's just a 1A, 1B, 1C kind of thing as my top 3 Zelda games. I'll give it a 9.5. I just love it that much.
Ooh.
It's just it's very it's very nearly perfect. I can't think of much wrong.
Yeah, it's well said. Yeah, this definitely is one of my favorite Zelda games. Like we said at the beginning of the episode, it's just not often talked about because it's on the 3DS and it's kind of a one-off of the story, and you never see these characters again or this concept again. Like you never even see Lorule teased about, whereas you kind of see some reoccurring characters. You don't really see Hilda and Cucklink that often.
No,
I'd love to see more Hilda, I'll tell you that. No, but
Goth
like
mommy.
it's a cool concept having like a dark version. I mean, there's like Dark Link or Shadow Link or whatever, but like having an actual opposite to the characters was a cool concept, and I hope we see it again maybe in the future.
for sure. And I hope this game comes to like more things in the future. Like,
Yeah, they really could just take that bottom screen, which is constantly just your menu screen, and just slap it into a menu interface in a regular,
there you go.
Switch one screen system, and you could re-release this game. Get on it.
Yeah,
Nintendo. Come on, let's fucking do it.
It's
Come on.
been done. They gave us the DS Castlevanias on a collection for Switch. I mean, it's
There you
doable.
Retrotopia approved.
Yeah, just do it.
There we go.
All right, so what have we got? Was it Final Fantasy IV with you guys next?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, it is Final Fantasy IV coming up next week. And then if I'm looking at my board correctly, we have our poll winner.
Ooh.
Symphony of the Night, one Castlevania type game coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've definitely dribbled over that plenty already. All right, good stuff. Well, thanks, guys. As always, this has been absolutely fucking brilliant. Do you know what, Brian? Why don't you tell the people not only where they can find all of our shit, but also tell them about all those awesome T-shirt designs that you've come up with?
Oh, here we go. All right, so if you want to find us, you can find us over at linktree/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia, where you can find all of our social medias, including our Instagram, our X or Twitter, our Blue Sky, and a link to the Discord, as well as we started selling merchandise. So we got 3 t-shirts up over at tpublic.ca, Yeah, just search for Retrotopia podcast and you can find that, or you can go to the link tree and find the link directly to one of the t-shirts, and then you can find the rest from there. If you want to support us further, head over to patreon.com/Retrotopia, where you can get our extra show, Quick Play, Retro Bites 15 days early with an extra topic, comment on show, comment to the host of said show, and take part in polls.
God, he's so fucking good at that, isn't he?
Yeah, you really are. I mean, no notes. Nothing to add there.
I am captivated. All right. Well, Sam, thank you. Brian, thank you. And thanks everyone for listening. And don't forget, before you go to sleep tonight, just leave a glass of milk and some cookies on your cuck chair for Brian.
Please.